Welcome back to Level Headed Gamer, guys. My name is Joseph. Today we got another Outriders legendary weapons video. I actually got my hands on another 10 weapons we haven't seen before, all new, and we're going to go through each one of them and we're going to talk about all the different mods. I've also confirmed with the guy who did the leak and the data mine for all these guys that the firepower and all the other stats on these weapons are correct because he was able to use them at world tier 15. So that's kind of the reason why the numbers are what they are. But obviously it's going to kind of matter what roles we get, but just so we know that right off the bat. And guys, and make sure if you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe down below. There's going to be a lot of videos, especially this week for Outriders and as well when the game launches. But let's get right into it. Let's get into the guns. Now, let's start with the legendary submachine gun, the Daimyo. Now, again, the firepower is correct. I don't know how good it's going to be in the world tier 15. We're going to have to see because there's some in the millions that cause damage in the millions. But let's look at the mods. We got a tier 3 mod, Ultimate Storm Whip. Shots bring down lightning on an enemy with dealing slightly over 113,000 damage and improved stiffening. Shots inflict slow on enemies and the cooldown of 4 seconds. We've seen both of these before, so we know kind of what to expect here and what kind of combination with a submachine gun. And it has a 150% crit chance here. RPM is nice, 409, being a pretty quick fire rate, along with a 60 round mag size, which is really nice. I also like the design with the chains kind of hanging off and what looks like the gun's barrel looks like a jaw. Looks pretty cool to me. Moving on to the next one is the Spirit Hunter. Now this one I really like the bony design of it and the cloth all over. It just kind of makes the gun look cool overall with 250% crit chance. But let's look at the mods we got here. We got a tier 3 mod, Ultimate Bone Shrapnel. Critical shots detonate the enemy's bones and turning them into shrapnel that deals slightly over 378,000 damage. Oh man, inflicts bleed on enemies within 5-meter radius, cooldown of 3 seconds. Bleeding bullets, shots inflict bleed on enemies, cooldown of 8 seconds. Well, I think it's not necessarily going to be a devastator because we've learned that the status effects from guns to abilities does not stack. So I think this could be potentially very useful for a Technomancer or even a Pyromancer, but we're gonna have to see kind of how it works really in the final game. But again, I do like those tusks coming out of the front. Moving on to the next gun with quite a simple design, but I do like the look of it, is the Bolt and Thunder. Now with the first mod, we have something we have seen before. It's a tier 3 mod, Strings of Gauze. Shots link up to 5 enemies in a 5-meter radius of the target and deal slightly over 88,000 damage, electrical damage to each of them, with a cooldown of 2 seconds. That could be really good. I don't know how useful sidearms are going to be in this game, if somebody's going to be literally maining sidearms, but it's a good mod nonetheless. With the second mod, tier 2 mod, is a Damage Link. Shots link up to 4 enemies, sharing 30% of their weapon damage dealt and 10% of their anomaly damage dealt, cooldown of 4 seconds. That's a good combination. So the Strings of Gauze and Damage Link is just going to continuously have, 3 or 4 enemies or 5 enemies around you maximum, always dealing a bunch of damage and making them weaker and causing more anomaly damage. So this actually can be useful. I take my words back right away. It looks like sidearms are going to be pretty powerful. Now, let's move on to the next gun. We got the Juggler, which is a legendary assault rifle. I like the design of this one. It looks kind of cool. I do like the lights, obviously. It's just kind of a sucker for that. But let's look at the mods. What we got here? We got a tier 3 Scrap Grenade. The first shot after reloading becomes Anomaly Projectile, dealing slightly over 252,000 damage in a 5-meter radius. I think it's just about remembering that this gun has this ability that the first shot is going to do that, so you make that first shot count, right? And the damage on this gun, look at this, over 10,000 damage with a 600 RPM and a mag size of 40. I mean, on paper sounds all really good. It's going to be kind of important to see how it's going to play out because I think the firepower is adjusted. We'll see the firepower jump up and down based on your character's skill tree and armor rating. Well, what the armor mods are going to do, right? And the ones on the right we got here, the stats, are just the base stats that it's going to come with. And then the second mod we got here is a level tier 2 mod Minefield. Killing shots spawn explosives around your target. Each deals slightly over 378,000 damage in a 5-meter radius. I mean, this is a pretty powerful combination here, causing just a bunch of damage all around. And I've said this many times, I have to wonder how much health are the enemies going to have at World Tier 15. Moving on to the Shelrog's Excrescence. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Sounds like, yeah, it has like this kind of bony organic design to it, and it's a legendary double gun, which I've learned from one of my subscribers is a type of assault rifle in this game. I'm sorry, I kind of didn't know that before, but now I do. With a tier 3 mod, we got ultimate burning bullets. Shots inflict burn on enemies. With a tier 1 mod, hot blood. Shots pass through enemies whose health is below 50%, ricocheting to 3 enemies within a 5-meter radius, inflicting burn. I know that burn from guns and to abilities doesn't stack, but I feel like this is going to be great for a pyromancer to kind of inflict more and more damage. Moving on to the next gun, we got the Funeral Pyre. It's a legendary automatic shotgun and has a really cool design, a very Mad Max design to it, with over 11,000 damage and a mag size of 20. That's nice. But I do remember in the demo, the automatic shotguns, the ammo kind of goes away really, really quick. And now let's see also the tier 3 mod. We got Shadow Comet. Shoots down a comet, dealing slightly over 113,000 damage to enemies within a 3.5 meter radius. Along with a second mod, Resistance Breaker. Shots decrease your target's resistance by 35% for 6 seconds. We've seen the Shadow Comet tier mod before. I haven't seen the Resistance Breaker, if I'm correct. But it does seem like it's going to be pretty powerful, right? Because you're going to be causing down the comets to come down the whole time. You're going to be reducing the resistance to it every single time you're shooting. Not to mention you're going to be doing a whole lot of damage with your character class, which most likely is going to be a Trickster or a Devastator, and doing a whole lot of damage in the process. Sounds good to me with a 3-second reload. Also, guys, just to remind you, remember, a lot of these guns are going to have weapon variants. So the way they shoot, it's going to change, which is a really nice thing we haven't considered yet for a lot of these guns for theory crafting. Moving on to the Anemol, which is a legendary automatic shotgun as well. And again, looks cool. I like the design. I like the design basically of every gun in this game. I don't think there was one that Icarus was kind of simple, but even then I still really liked it. But let's look at the mods. We got a tier 3 mod, Moaning Winds. Reloading creates a strong blast around you, dealing over 16,000 damage to enemies in a range of 8 meters with a cooldown of 2 seconds. I don't know how useful that's going to be for shotguns, because I'm starting to learn that you can create really nice builds based around never really having the need to reload. So it might be an underused mod in my opinion, but we're going to have to see in the final game. With the tier 1 mod as well as Anomaly Surge, critical shots spawn an Anomaly Energy Blast that deals slightly over 5,000 damage in a 1.5 meter radius. I don't know. It has a max size of 10, the RPM 240. I don't know. This is not super impressive, but it is level 40. It's not highest, level gear we got here. So we're gonna have to kind of investigate this one a little bit more once we get our hands on it. Moving on to the Landlubber. Okay. I like the really classic kind of Renaissance design to it. It's a legendary bolt action rifle, and we got a tier 3 mod, Legendary Minefield. Critical shots spawn explosives around your target. Each deals slightly over 378,000 damage in a 5 meter radius with a cooldown of 3 seconds. That's pretty nice, especially with a 250% crit chance. That's going to be pretty sweet. With a tier 1 mod, Fireworks. Shots create explosions that deal slightly over 117,000 damage to enemies within a 6 meter radius. Cooldown of 3 seconds as well. So that's pretty cool. It's this critical shots and there's explosions. You have a nice crit chance, especially if you have a crit build and you're going to be a Technomancer and a Pyromancer. This is going to be kind of the gun for you. It seems like it. Now, let's move into the Imploder. Out of these guns today I'm showing you, this is my favorite design. I really, really like this one. It looks really cool. It looks like a beehive or something. And we got a tier 3 mod here, which is going to be Deadly Disturbance. Critical shots activate an unstable anomaly, affect effect in your enemy, causing them to explode, dealing slightly over 370,000 damage to other enemies within a 5-meter radius. With a tier 1 mod as well, Ruler of Leeches, killing shots increase weapon leech by 20% for 20 seconds. So please correct me if I'm wrong. As I understand, I haven't looked this up yet. I don't know how I haven't. Is weapon leech, I'm guessing, is the amount of health you're able to leech from enemies when you're shooting them with a particular gun, since all the characters in this game heal on some sort of damage dealt basis. Correct me if I'm wrong. It is a legendary double gun, so it's an assault rifle with a mag of 60. Nice. RPM is 750. That's ridiculous. It does have a very long reload time, so it almost feels like it's a light machine gun, almost like it's just bordering to a light machine gun. Again, the damage here is not crazy, but I think it makes it up with the RPM. We'll have to see how this gun performs in the final game. The last gun we got here is going to be the Body Snatcher. It's a legendary pump action shotgun. We got a tier 3 mod, Body Snatcher, just like the gun. Killing shots teleport another enemy to a place where the previous one died. Works within 25-meter radius of the target. I don't know why I would need that, to be honest. I don't know how this could be useful. But Body Snatcher is an old school horror movie, it's one of the old school horror movies back in the day, so I know the reference from there. And we got a second mod here, Soul Devourer. Killing shots regenerate slightly over 8,000 points of health. I guess that's nice. Yeah, I don't know about this gun. With a max size of 3, the Body Snatcher mod being kind of pointless. The design is cool, but I don't know. We'll have to see. That's basically all the guns I got for you today. I gotta say they're not as exciting as the ones we've seen in the first big leak. But they are nice, and I think at this point we have all the guns in the game, all the legendary guns, because we got the first 10 from the demo, we got the second 10 here, and I also got 25 I did in my previous video, which I will link for you. So it's kind of, we know basically all the legendary guns in the game, so we can kind of start theory crafting for real to see what we're gonna do. We don't know all the mods, of course, but that's another story. Guys, that's all I got for you. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe down below, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and make sure to enjoy the rest of your day and look out for more videos this week for Outriders armor sets.